All right. Well, first of all, I want to thank each of you for taking the time to jump on this call. A couple of you on very short notice because I think it was after midnight maybe when I was checking emails and I saw the one from Aiden and sent something back to him. So appreciate um, appreciate y'all doing this on short notice. My name is Rob Chaney. I'm the athletic director here at Tallahassee Community College. Let me let one more in here. And you'll hear more from me a little bit later. We also have Gary Droze on the call. He's our head coach for cross country and track. And then Jenny Helms, she's one of our admissions officers at the college. And we'll start with her in a minute. What I would like to do quickly, though, is go around and just get a quick introduction from everybody so that I know who is on the call. And I'm just going to go kind of in the order that I see everybody going down my page here. So, Jahari and Jelani, why don't you two start us off? I can't hear you. All right. While they work on that, we'll circle back around to you. So I'm just going to go by what I see on the screen here. So Aiden's iPhone, I'll turn it over to you.
Hi, I'm here on Aiden's behalf. I'm his mom, Lisa. He's in class right now, actually, on a Zoom for college algebra. So we're trying to double Zoom this morning.
Okay. Nice. And Browning, did
yes.
I remember that correct? All right, Aiden Browning. I'm just going to plug some names. Oops, wrong thing. Let's see here. Newfield. There we go. And where's Aiden from? Where's hometown?
So we are in Asheville, North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
I was a FSU grad and swam for them, and that's his number one school. And he unfortunately did not get a positive admission response. So TCC is where we're starting.
Okay. And so he's doing some TCC classes this summer?
He is. He's taken 2 classes this summer.
Okay. Outstanding. All right. Kari.
Yes, good morning. I'm Kari Wright, and graduated from Lincoln. I'm here in Tallahassee right now, and yeah.
What 2021 grad?
Yeah, 2021 grad. My first year at TCC.
Okay. And is Aiden, is he a 21 grad as well in North Carolina?
He is, yeah. He just graduated.
All right, outstanding. Okay, Merlin.
Hi everybody, my name is Merlon Payne. I graduated from Barton Trail High School, and right now I live in St. Augustine, Florida, and I'm taking 3 classes at St. John's River right now, and I'm hoping to transfer to TCC and run track.
Okay. And what year high school grad are you?
I graduated 2020.
2020. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And you completed the questionnaire, online questionnaire, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
That's where I saw. Okay. All right, hang on. I got one more jumping in. Leo Rutledge.
Yeah, I'm Leo Rutledge, and I graduate McClay, class of 21. Yeah.
All right. Jahari White.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, finally. All right. Hi, I'm Jahari White. I'm from Barber Trail High School. I graduated 2021. I ran track and cross country. What's it called? I ran the 1 mile, well, the 1600, 3200, and the 5K. I'd say I'm best suited for the 3,200 and the 5K because I like more longer distance runs. And yes, what I do.
Hey, even when I got on the call, I was getting a message. My video was not working. So I mean, I know this Zoom thing can be a little sensitive from time to time. So appreciate you hanging
No
in
problem.
there, persistent. Jelani.
Hey, hello, I'm Jelani White. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm Jelani White. I just started running cross country last year, and I got into it and I ran pretty good. I run the 816 and the 400, and my main run's the 800.
All right. Troy Williams.
Hello. I graduated from Fulton Beach. My main events are the 4x4, or the 400, and the 400-meter hurdles. Now, I ran 300. I was pretty good at it. Almost got the school record just off by a second. So yeah, that's pretty much for me.
All right, and the mystery for last here, Galaxy Note 9.
Yeah, how you doing? I am I'm Kari's father.
Oh, okay.
I'm at work right now, so I'm just kind of hovering over and
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Just all right. Well, I appreciate you jumping on the call as well. So yeah, and if you, Ms. Browning, if y'all have any questions, feel free to ask those the same way we want the students to ask. You can drop it in the chat if you'd like, and we'll catch it. But again, appreciate all of y'all being on this morning. So first off, I'm going to turn it over to Jenny Helms, and Jenny is going to talk to you about how to become a student at TCC, some of those steps. Of course, Jenny, for some on the call, they've committed. We know they're coming. All right, and I'll use Jahari and Jelani as an example there. They've we've signed them to a LOI. We know they're going to be at TCC. Some of the others on the call are on expressing interest in TCC. So you kind of have both angles represented, if that helps. So for some, they may have already completed these steps, but for others, this may be a completely new introduction to how to.
All right. Well, good morning. I'm glad to see all of your bright and shiny faces this morning. I know this may be early for some of you. My name is Jenny Helms. I work in admissions and records. I am a recruiter here at TCC. So I spend a lot of time talking to new students and high school students that have just graduated, helping them get enrolled at TCC and getting all their paperwork in. So some of you, as Rob said, may have already done this. Some of you may have not. So basically, if you decide to apply to TCC, you're going to do it on the website. You would just go to the website that's listed there, and in the top right-hand corner, it says apply now. You would click on that. It's super easy. It only takes about 10 or 15 minutes to fill it out. One thing you do have to have is your social security number. So I always tell everybody that up front, because I know you're just most of you are at a point you're just learning that. So make sure you have that when you fill it out, because you won't be able to go any further unless you do. But that's probably about the hardest question on there. And so you'll fill it out. And once you fill it out, within 24 hours, but usually within about 15 or 20 minutes, you're going to get an email from TCC telling you you've been conditionally accepted. Sometimes people ask me, what does that mean? I've been conditionally accepted. Well, it means you've been accepted. As long as you get all your paperwork in, you'll be able to start classes with us. So it's important that you get the paperwork in that I'm going to talk about with you. You're going to get that email. It's going to have your credentials in it. Your credentials, meaning your TCC email address, your username, your password, and your student number. That information is really important. You want to make sure you hold on to it. You need to start checking your TCC email immediately, and check it often, because that's how communication is going to come to you. With that information, you're going to have a link to something called your Workday account. every TCC student has a Workday account, and that is where all of your onboarding is completed. So you have something called onboarding as a new student that you have to do. That's like your to-do list. And everything is going to be a hold on your account until you complete those things on your to-do list. And as you complete them, those holds will come off your account. You won't be able to start classes if you have holds on your account. So it's really important you get those taken care of. Once you apply, you log into your Workday account, you're checking your email, you complete that to-do list. A few things that are going to be on that to-do list. There's like 12 steps. One of the things is we have to have your final official high school transcripts. So you need to make sure you have requested those be sent to us if you plan on attending here. If you haven't done that yet, please do that as soon as possible, because that does take some time. It takes time for your high school to get us those transcripts, and it takes time once they get here to be evaluated. Sometimes students will tell me, well, I had them sent to you guys and they told me they were delivered, but I still have the hold. Yeah, you're still going to have the hold probably for a couple of weeks, honestly, because during our busy time, our navigators get those transcripts, lots of transcripts from lots of students. And so they're in a line of papers to be processed. Once they get those transcripts, they have to evaluate them. And once they evaluate them, that hold will come off your account. So it can take a few weeks for all of that to happen from start to finish. So just because you get an email that says they've been received, it doesn't mean that the hold's been taken off yet, because they haven't been processed yet. Once they're processed, that hold will come off. If you've gone to college anywhere else, for instance, if you were dual enrolled, or if you're not a recent grad and you have done a year's worth of college somewhere else, then you need to have your college transcripts sent here as well. And it's the same process with those. It does take a few weeks to get those processed. You're all going to have a hold for something called the Super Strong Assessment on your account. That is just a career assessment that is required for all of our students to take. So you'll want to make sure you take that. After you take that, you need to schedule an appointment with an advisor. That's done through your Workday account as well. And once you meet with an advisor who advises you on your classes to take, then that super strong hold will be taken off. Residency is another hold that will be on your account. If you're a Florida resident, you have to prove you're a Florida resident to get Florida residency. So that's going to be something you have to submit as well. I will mention, in your Workday account, on your holds, you may see something that says overridden. That just means they have overridden the hold so that you can go ahead and get registered for classes. But that does not mean that you don't have to do it. Sometimes students will tell me, well, it says overridden, so I don't have to do it. No, that's not the case. You still have to do it. It's just been overridden so that you can get registered for your classes. But if you don't get that done and that hold taken off, your classes will be dropped at some point. So does anybody have any questions? My information is here. Please feel free to call me or email me anytime if you have questions or need help, and I will do whatever I can to help you, okay?
I have one question.
Sure.
I have like on hold on my account, like you said. I still have to set up an advisor meeting. Like what's the quickest way I have to do that? Do we have to like call you or somebody?
No, the best way to do that, everybody is supposed to have an advisor assigned to them. However, that's not really the case. Not everybody has one assigned to them. So right now during our busy times, summer's busy when everybody's enrolling for the fall. The best way to get an advising appointment is through a Zoom meeting. You can go on the TCC website, and on the TCC website under advising, on that page, there will be Zoom sessions you can sign up for, and you just need to sign up for a Zoom session with an advisor. And if you can't figure out where that is or you can't find it, please feel free to call me or email me, and I'll be happy to show you where it is.
Thank you.
Jenny, I'm doing a lot of the advising for the runners.
Okay.
So, Troy communicating with me via email can be a good first step, and for us to essentially set up, do the same thing, set up a Zoom, whatever the case may be. I'm taking that on with the athletes. In the past, we've had kind of each team has had a liaison in advising to assist with that part. The coaches are beginning to get a little bit more involved now. Fortunately for Coach Droze, because he's not here in a full-time capacity, we have not put that same expectation on him. So I have jumped in to assist the runners as much as possible. So if you and I can connect, we can probably knock that out. But if you can get me I like to see an unofficial transcript at least, because I know you can get that to me sooner than later a lot of times, because the process does take a little bit longer for it to cycle through and get into workday.
Okay.
Jenny, I had a question. So I'm looking at a student, and on their holds list, it says missing official high school transcript /GED, and then it does say overridden. Then right below it, it says missing official high school transcript /GED, and then in parentheses it says fully admitted. What's the?
If you tell me who the student is, I'll look them up
Okay.
and see what I can find.
Okay.
If you want to email that to me, you can, or if you want to tell me right now, it doesn't matter either way.
I'll just shoot you an email.
Okay, that'll work.
But I see that, and that's just one. I've seen that on multiple students.
A lot of times there will be duplicate holds on there, and I couldn't tell you why that's the case. And we have to go through and delete both of those holds.
Okay.
But I don't know why that happens.
Okay. Guys, I think, students, if they're seeing this, sometimes I think it potentially becomes a little confusing or misleading to them if they see both. Well, then which one is, which one should they consider to be, the right one?
Yep.
Okay.
Either way, if it's a hold on there, it's got to be taken care of. And when it is taken care of, both of those holds will come off.
Okay. And I know things changed a few years back with regards to PERT testing, but is there anything to say about that at this point?
If you have graduated from a Florida public high school and you attended there all 4 years, you will not have to PERT test. If you're graduating from a private school or a school outside of Florida, you may have to PERT test depending on your ACT or SAT scores if you have those. So in your holds, you're going to see your high school transcript holds and you're going to see your test score holds, and it'll be for like reading, math, English. Ignore that if you have graduated from a Florida public high school and you attended there for 4 years. If you did not, then you need to make sure you submit your ACT or SAT scores if you have them, to see if they qualify you to not have to take the PERT test. If you didn't take the ACT or SAT and you didn't graduate from a Florida public high school, you will need to take the PERT test. And so you'll need to contact the testing center to do that.
So just another good reason why to get all of your information in as quickly as possible. Transcripts, test scores, anything that is going to help you move through the process as quickly as possible.
And the PERT test, for any of you that aren't sure what that is, that's just so we know what classes to place you in. Like if you need remedial classes, or if you can go into college level classes, because we want you to be successful in your classes. So we want to make sure that we're putting you in the appropriate level.
Okay. Any other questions for Jenny?
All right, well, there's my information. So if you guys think of anything, please feel free to reach out to me. And I wish you guys the best of luck, okay? Have a great summer. Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Talk to you later.
All right. And I just dropped Jenny's email into the chat for anybody that wants to make a note of it later on. So, all right. Well, moving along, I will turn it over now to Coach Droze, and Coach, we'll let you share some info, and then you and I will go into our online presentation.
Okay. Morning, folks. First off, raise your hand if you're watching the Olympic trials, track and field trials. Good. You folks are. All right. My 800 runners, I have a question for you. I'm not putting you on the spot. This is not rhetorical. There's no perfect answer to this. I just want your opinion. Let's see. So I'm looking especially at Jelani and Curry. What do you think happened to Donovan Brazier?
To me, it was crazy when he came in 7th, but usually for the 800, there's like, to me, it's different days that you do good on, but there's just he might have got overwhelmed because what I was looking at was he was like struggling coming around the 300.
Yeah, I felt the same way. Curry, what do you think?
I definitely was not expecting that performance that I saw. When like you said, you have your good days and you have your bad days, and I guess he fell on a bad day. But yeah I definitely wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my takeaway from that, and just something for you guys to keep in mind, and that's part of our philosophy on the team, and my coaching philosophy is, on the one hand, you don't take anything for granted, but then on the other hand, even if you're not a favorite seed, I mean, you can assume on the starting line there for the finals, a lot of folks just went, well, maybe I'll get second or third. The first spot is taken. Well, somebody upended that. Somebody got a spot on the team who probably wasn't expected to be on the team. So just keep that in mind when we're on the starting line for any races. If you made it to the starting line, it means you have a shot, and don't give anything away. So anyway, so sorry for sidetracking there, but the trials are pretty exciting. I know you guys are watching them. Aiden's mom, are you still on?
Yes. Hi.
Okay. And I'm sorry, well, first off, when did you swim for FSU?
88.
88. Okay.
It's been a while.
That's when I started grad school there. Okay. So we were walking
funny.
on campus around the same time. In fact, we might have been near the pool at the same time. I was teaching water running to injured FSU athletes at the old pool way back then. So, okay. And can you just remind me, Aiden, what's Aiden's main event or events?
Okay, so he's a soccer player.
Okay.
So he was a runner through like middle school, has played soccer his whole life. And freshman year decided to run cross country instead of soccer because he didn't want to waste his time with soccer because he wasn't going to make varsity, and felt like JV was a waste of his time. So he ran cross instead, and was the second fastest freshman in the state. So, he's got a lot of talent there, but hasn't had the true, soccer has been the love.
Right.
And so, in looking at college, he decided he wants to go big college, and FSU doesn't have soccer. And so, we didn't think he would do athletics. We thought, okay, well, you'll just go ahead and, do intramurals and club and go to school.
Okay.
And so the other day he got an email that you guys were looking for cross country girls. And I went, what? They have athletics at TCC? And so we just kind of did a little research and went, oh, well, that could be fun. So, that's where you guys just got his thing last night. And, we're like, well, let's just find out more about it. And
okay.
So he's done a little bit of everything running wise, but I don't really know what his true tap potential is. He ran, 17, low 17s for 5K his freshman year in high school, and dabbled in track, did run track year before last, but did like 2 meets before COVID hit. So was just kind of more going out to have fun and be with his friends.
All right. Well, sounds like he has a lot of unexplored potential. For what it's
Yeah.
worth, I grew up in England where pretty much all you do is play soccer. And then we came back to the States and there wasn't much soccer. And I was like, well, I'm fit from soccer. So that's kind of how I fell into running. So
soccer players make the best runners. I coached his middle school team and it was all soccer players, and we swept every event. We had perfect scores at a couple of races. It was kind of fun.
Sounds good. Okay. Yeah, because you need speed and endurance if you're going to be a soccer player. Which segues into the next thing I want to talk about real quickly is for those of you who are in on this meeting, I've already spoken to some of you talking about our goals. This will be no doubt, this will be the strongest men's cross country team since the inception of the program. My goal is for you guys to win conference this year. We will go to nationals. We're going to run it at nationals. So when I'm going to release the season meet schedule soon, and you'll see nationals is going to be on there. We're going. But beyond that, some of you do not consider yourselves like full-on distance runners. That's okay. Anybody who runs 400 meters and up is going to benefit from running cross country. If I know that you are more of a middle distance, long sprinter, middle distance runner, even through the cross country season, when I have the opportunity to adapt the workouts for you, I'm always going to keep in mind, what event in the spring you run. So we're going to run cross country in the fall, but I'm always going to be coaching you with the knowledge that everybody has different things to do in the spring. So looking ahead to the spring, I've already mentioned this to some of you, but our main goal is to get guys to nationals. We've had women go to nationals a number of years for track in junior college. For the men, our best shot is the relays, specifically the 4x4 and the 4x8. So that's what I'm looking for. And there are a number of you, even some of you who are solid cross-country runners, have shown from your high school marks that you have the ability to contribute in those relays. So we're not leaving the other events alone. Anybody who has potential in the other events, we're going to work that. But just keep that in mind, is that we want to make that trek to nationals in the spring in those relays. A couple of you who are in on this meeting are hurdler types. While we don't have our own track, we do have access to track, and I have coached hurdlers too, so we will definitely not leave that alone. And we have at least one person online who wants to run the steeple. So some of you guys who have a hurdle background, you're going to be my assistant coaches to show Leo Rutledge how to get over a hurdle with something better than really rough form. And he's going to be a work in progress for that, but I think that there's good potential there. Okay. All right. I'm going to, I have a few other things to talk about, but I'm going to let Rob interject if he wants to right now before I say anything else. I'm going to discuss sort of, the way the practice schedules are going to go. But I want to give Rob a chance if he wants to jump in and say anything now. If you have something to say, Rob, fine. Otherwise, I'll continue.
Why don't you go ahead
okay,
and hit on that, and then I'll pull up.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay, so now we're going to get a little more specific, and this is going to matter for all of you who are going to run cross country. And actually, I should back up a little bit. Number one, the most important thing you can do for the program is to exploit your great personalities and your ability to interact with other students at TCC, and to get females to come out for cross country and or track. Okay, there's a program called Title IX. It's a federal mandate, and basically it's a source of equity to make sure that women aren't overlooked in sports. But partly because of Title IX, we absolutely must have more women out for cross country and track. Now on the guys' side, I'll be honest, it's really competitive. It's going to be tough to make the squad, especially the track squad. But for the females, if you encounter, in the fitness center, or you see somebody, running out on the roads or something, if you bump into any female TCC students who are just fit enough, they don't have to be competitive, but they look like they're actually engaged in fitness, it will mean a lot to the men's team for us to get more women out for the program. Okay, so really keep that in mind. And if you're shy by nature, this is a chance for you to break out of your shyness and to interact. But it's absolutely crucial that we get more women out. Okay, so that's
Now this call is a good illustration of the ratio that we tend to get when it comes to interest from between males and females. And you know, as Gary said with Title IX, it's not about having the same number of sports. You know, when we do our report each year with the Department of Education, it's looking at the number of participants. And then, you know, our participants, when you break it down between male and female participation, is kind of dictated on TCC's overall student enrollment. So, you know, my standards can be a little different than St. John's River or FSCJ because all of our enrollments look a little bit different. But yeah, I can't stress enough how, you know, we could use your help in trying to recruit female participants, and that's why I emphasized, you know, that we're, you know, need females in the email that I sent out on Friday, because each of the years that we've had the program, this is how we've picked up some female participants, is just doing some email blasts to the student body, and especially during the summer, because as you know, new students are applying and getting enrolled, you know, they may be coming from North Carolina or elsewhere and not know that we have athletics, and maybe they did run in high school and would love an opportunity to you know, to run, you know, for 1 or 2 more years. So as you you know, strike up conversations, if you have teammates who ran in high school, or maybe they did, you know, we had a Gary, who was it? Reagan Ward. She was predominantly a soccer player growing up, and then she ran cross for us, you know, for 2 falls. But if you have you know, classmates from high school who ran or participated in athletics and they're coming to TCC, you encourage them to reach out to us, and you know, and it can help them from a physical standpoint, but it can also help us, you know, when it comes to our participation numbers. So I'll cut it off there, and Gary, back to you.
okay. I'm not going to take up too much more time. I'm just going to get really specific now, just with those of you who are coming on to train with us during cross country season. I like to get the workouts done in the morning as much as possible, and partly that's just because, you know, the way Florida works, you know, a lot of times it's going to be storming and, you know, hot in the afternoons. Also schedule wise, it's just nice. You guys as runners know it's really it's to your advantage to get the workout done as soon as you can in the day, because real life always impacts you, and sometimes it's difficult schedule wise to run later. So that said, when you guys are setting up your classes, please, as much as possible, try not to have classes before, say, 9:30 or 10 a.m. because our standard meeting time through most of the cross country season is going to be somewhere around 7 to 7:15 in the morning, and we'll be finished up by probably 9 a.m. each morning. There'll be some variation to that, but for the most part, that's what you can expect. Also, as I told Jelani and Jahari when they visited, those of you who are coming from cities where you had to pound the sidewalks and the roads, well, good news for you during cross country season. The nickname for Tallahassee is Trailahassee, and it's earned that nickname. We have lots and lots of trails to run on. So we're going to be off-road most of the time, with some exceptions, but for the most part, we're going to be doing real cross-country running. And our home course is the ARP. Those who've run at the state meet know that. So we will make some ventures over there to the ARP for training, and we also will have 3 meets there. So we're going to have a real home course advantage by you guys being in Tallahassee. Let's see what else as far as the training goes. Just to let you know, NCAA does not have a half marathon national championships, but NJCAA, which we're competing in, has a half marathon national championship. With the crew and the talent that we have coming out in the fall, I absolutely expect for us to make a trip. In cross, obviously you score 5 people and you have a 7-person team. In the half marathon, you can score with 3 people and you can have an unlimited number of runners. So those of you who take to the weekly long runs really well and you feel confident enough to do it, your rewards for doing the long weekend runs is we fully intend to make our trip to the NJCAA National Half Marathon Championships. So that's just another opportunity for you to be able to say that you've run at a national championship. Okay. Rob, that's all I have for now. I'm going to send everybody some separate emails very soon that indicate the actual dates for every one of our meets. I've just about got the meet schedule finalized, but I'll have that out to you folks by this weekend, so you'll know what the meet schedule is, and that way your parents, if they want to come to some of the meets, they'll know when we're going to be doing it.
Okay. And I just admitted somebody else to the room, Zevin Colston.
Yeah, I contacted their coach from I think FAMU DRS.
Okay.
I believe Zevin is a sprinter from FAMU High.
Okay. So Zevin, welcome to the call. We're recording this and we'll send the link back out to everybody once we're done, so that you can go back and review any of the information that you'd like to. So real quick, I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. Gary, do you see the Run TCC page? What am I?
I'm looking at a non-participation report.
Hang on, let me try it again. Share. There we go.
There we go.
Okay. All right. So some of this will be information that Gary has just shared. Other parts of it, maybe the first time we've hit on it. But I just want to kind of run through and give you an overview of our program quickly. So we started athletics here at the college back in 1990. And we kind of had our 4 initial sports, men's, women's basketball, baseball, softball, all set in place by 1994. And then we didn't add anything until 2016. And that fall, we started running women's cross country. We added the men's team the following fall, and then by the spring of 2019, we brought on track and field for men and women. The one thing that I learned, I think, rather quickly with both sports that I feel like is very neat is that we are able to enter events and line up right next to 4-year schools. Okay, my basketball team, we can scrimmage somebody in the fall or prior to the start of the season in November. Baseball, we'll scrimmage Florida A&M in the fall, but it's scrimmages, and they still serve bit of a purpose, but they're not official regular season athletic events. We can go run in the FAMU relays in the spring with track. We'll run in the FSU Invitational for cross country in the fall. And you're able to literally line up on the starting line or in the starting blocks next to participants from schools that you might have an interest in attending after you graduate from TCC. And it provides an outstanding opportunity for you to get exposure and to be recruited right there on the spot. So from the outset, I thought that was one of the neat advantages for these sports, and a good reason for us to promote those and to have those. Okay. But we started track in the spring of 2019, and we immediately had 2 female runners qualify for nationals. We had another one qualify last month, and we took her out to West Texas. The 2019 event was in New Mexico. So with track, obviously those of you who are familiar with track, you kind of know how that works. There are standards, whether it's a time or a distance or a height, and you either hit it or you don't. If you're talking about qualifying for nationals with cross country, Gary said earlier that we're going to go to nationals. Cross country works a little different from my other sports. With softball or basketball, you have to win your way to the national tournament, or put yourself in position to get an at-large bid in basketball. Baseball and softball, there's only one way to get there, and you have to win our region tournament. With cross country, it's an open event. So as long as you participate in your region championship event, which we always will do that, we're currently the host of the championship race, then you're eligible to go. So we're always going to send our teams to nationals, or I'm always going to advocate to do that, based on Gary's recommendation. There's not necessarily a race that you have to win or a time that you have to meet, by the rules. So again, I think, that's why track and field, cross country, offer some neat opportunities compared to some of the other sports that we have. We've been successful, since we started. We've already had a number of runners earn all-state recognition. The second year that we had the women's team, we had the individual state champion, a young lady from Perry, Florida, Megan Giddens. That's actually a video of her coming down the finish line at the state championship event. There's some more shots for our all-state runners. But what I really wanted to hit on here, this is why, if I was, face to face with you, trying to sell you on coming to Tallahassee Community College, these are the 4 things that I want to hit on. Number 1, academics, and academics has got to be your number 1 priority here at the college. Okay. Because if you're not getting the job done in the classroom, eventually you're going to forfeit your opportunity to participate in, on the trail or on the track or both. So academics has to be number 1 for you. And you're in a good spot for that, because we really have a strong reputation academically at the college. In 2020, we were named one of the nation's top 10 community colleges by the Aspen Institute. That put us in the running for $1 million prize to be the top ranked college, which they announced last month. We unfortunately did not get the number 1 spot, but still, to say that you're top 10 from the Aspen Institute, that is a very high honor to receive, and it's something that the college has been very proud of. We have outstanding faculty. We've always promoted that our faculty, their credentials are second to none. And then we have an academic support facility on campus, the Learning Commons, that, in my opinion, it rivals what you're going to see on a lot of especially the smaller 4-year college campuses. So your Division IIs or Division IIIs, or even your NAIA schools. I just don't think you're going to find a facility like we have here at TCC. It's you can go in the front door, and regardless of the subject that you need assistance with, you can walk out of there having received that. Whether it's math, science, if you need help writing papers, we've got academic support personnel in place to give you guidance and assistance. So I've always said, in my opinion, it takes more effort to fail than to succeed here, because I think all of the resources are right there for you to be successful. You just have to do your part as a student. So, the result of all of that, and this is not reflective of any new selections that we've had this year, but going into 2020, 2021, we had already had 15 NJCAA All Academic selections, 16 NJCAA Cross Country Coaches Association Scholar All-America honorees, and 9 different teams between cross country, half marathon, and track had earned NJCAA Academic Team of the Year recognitions for having a cumulative 3.0 GPA or higher for the year. And then the photo to the left that's one of our cross country runners, Ashley Maxwell, who is actually selected to be the student speaker at our what at this point turns out to be our last or our most recent in-person commencement ceremony back in 2019. So that was a really neat opportunity for her, and that gave us some good publicity, not just for the athletic department, but for cross country and track in particular. Number two, on why I would say give TCC consideration. Coach Droze, if you're not familiar with him, if you haven't like Googled him or anything, I can tell you you're going to have an opportunity to train under a Hall of Fame coach when you work alongside him. He was inducted into the Florida High School Athletic Association's Hall of Fame in 2018. He coached at McClay School here in town for close to 25 years. It might have been 25 right on the nose, but in that time, he won he coached his teams to a combined 20 state championships across boys and girls and cross country and track. And so from the outset, when I first spoke with him back, I think it was early 2016, he had reached out to me and expressed an interest in coming over to coach our team and kind of building a similar foundation here. And to me, it was a no-brainer to find an opportunity to bring him on to lead our teams as we got started up. So you won't find anyone better to kind of perfect your craft under, whether it's on the trails or the track. Our facilities, Gary did hit on this. Those of you who are from the state, you've probably run at Appalachia Regional Park. It is a cross-country facility. So just like, the Seminoles have Doak Campbell Stadium for football and the Tucker Center for basketball, and, and I have a baseball and softball and basketball facility here on campus. This is a cross-country facility. It's not a golf course that's, that we set up and make it into a cross-country course a couple or three times a year. This is dedicated for cross-country. And in my opinion, it's as good as you're going to find in the country. Okay. So the big news for that is that we have already been selected to host the 2022 NJCAA championships on that course. So for me, a big selling point for these next 2 years is that any high school graduates in 21 or 22 will have the opportunity to run a national championship event at home. And that just doesn't happen every day. So, when you're talking about the fact that, we have, as you see there, more than 1,600 miles of trails in Leon County, all kinds of terrain. I mean, you can get out and, there's flat terrain. If you're from Tallahassee area, you obviously know that Tallahassee has its hills here in town. So there are all kinds of opportunities to get out and to get your conditioning in. And whether you're a sprinter or a distance runner, there are ways for that to benefit both seasons. Okay. But Appalachia Regional Park, it's really the best that you're going to find. And again, it hosts our state championship event every year, but we'll have a nationals out there next fall. So, that's coming up rather quickly at this point. And then fourth is just the opportunity. And at least when I had put this presentation together back in the fall, at the time, TCC was the only two-year school in Florida who offers track and field. And I believe Lake Sumter State College has declared for women's, and I think they had some women officially participate in the spring. But at the time when I did this last November, we were the only two-year school in Florida who ran track and field. And we were the only two-year school in the Southeast who ran both track and cross country. So the opportunities just aren't out there, or they're not numerous if this is your sport and if the 2-year stop is what you want to have as part of your academic journey. Okay. So just that alone, it's a unique opportunity. I think it helps us fill a gap. To be quite honest, I think there are a lot of talented runners out there. When we first ran track in 2019, we kind of tagged on to some of the mini meets that Gary was hosting at Maclay, and I was impressed with the number of participants that we do have in the high school system here, especially in Leon County, and whether it's in Leon or if it's in the Jacksonville area. It is a very popular sport in the state. So I think this gives us an opportunity to tap into some students out there who would love to continue to run, and the 2-year education might be the place for them to be. So fills a gap. And then, like I said earlier, participating in events hosted by 4-year colleges and universities is a prime recruiting opportunity for you, because you get to line up side by side, with Florida State or with Florida A&M or Albany State, Bethune-Cookman. I can go on and on. I know we went and ran in an event over at University of North Florida in 2019, and that one was huge. That was a spring event. I mean, they had schools from Boston College to South Florida, in it. So it's just a unique opportunity for you to be seen, potentially recruited, especially if you have an interest in continuing on in athletics beyond Tallahassee Community College. So, if you have interest, and like I said, some of you on the call today, we know that you're already on board, but for those of you who jumped on to find out more about the program, I would encourage you to do a couple of things. One, or the primary thing is, let's see, find the right link here. So on our website, tcceagles.com, you look under student athletes, and then you see a little column here for recruits. And we have a link that allows you to submit a recruiting questionnaire, and we have those created by sport. If you go to the cross country and track and field, then this just kind of takes you down a very simple series of questions where you're providing some personal information, eventually some academic information, and then we give you a chance to drop in any PRs in any cross country or track and field events. And some of you have already completed this step, and then that kind of prompted me to get you onto this call. But we created this as a way to always allow students to show an interest in the sport and in Tallahassee Community College. When you hit submit, it goes right to Coach Droze's email, and he's able to review your credentials and kind of let that initiate the recruiting process in a similar way that that my basketball or baseball or softball coaches recruit. They're out on the road. They have to be very selective, but they evaluate, they look at credentials, and then they find who's going to make the cut and be the best fit for our program. But I would encourage you to complete that if you haven't already. And then, like I said, if let's give it a shot, and I want to get to TCC, then that's where you need to jump back to those steps that Jenny talked about at the beginning, and making sure that you apply to the college and that you begin to go through and knock out those steps towards being fully admitted, and kind of take it from there. One other thing I want to hit on, when we started the program back in 2016, we did it essentially as a non-scholarship sport, even though we competed Division I, and at the time, NJCAA, they only had Division I and Division III as options for cross country. So if you were ever going to give even one penny, well, you had to be Division I. And so a lot of us, or really all of us here in Florida that run the sport, we're not doing it anywhere close to Division I when it comes to athletic aid. So we would get to nationals, and we were on a very uneven playing field. And thankfully, the NJCAA established or reestablished, they had it years back, but they reestablished Division II for cross country like they have in all of their other sports. And so the Florida schools, with the exception of one, have all declared to run Division II. And I think that gives us a much more balanced playing field, especially when we get to that national championship event. And so next fall, we are hosting Division I and Division II, but Division II will run with the Division II schools. And my goal was to advocate, on behalf of Gary and of this sport, to help put us in a position to, quite frankly, raise a national championship trophy next fall. That's what I would love to see. And we talked about getting this event to Tallahassee when we first established the sport, and we've accomplished that. And so, I'm trying to get us positioned to have as competitive a team as possible for next fall. And so we have made, some gains with regards to athletic aid. It's not a lot. So it is obviously a very competitive process, and we kind of have a small pot that we distribute amongst both seasons, and men and women. So I always want to make sure that the students, I would say, always be prepared to come in essentially as a walk-on. Okay. So, when you're talking about the cost of attendance for TCC, your tuition and housing, books and all of that, I would say be prepared to, just, foot the bill, or utilize, your other forms of athletic, or not athletic aid, but other forms of financial aid to assist with that, just as you would if you were attending school and athletics didn't exist. And then as we go along, if we have opportunities, we will look for those and try to kick in a little bit of assistance, where we can. But, right now, we have a very small pot, so that makes it a very, competitive process when we distribute it. And then, the last thing, we've already hit on it at least once or twice, just the fact that, we have to have a very competitive process when determining the men's roster. The female roster, I wish I wish we had, 9, or 10 females on the call as well today. We tell them, man, if you have an interest in, and we know we can count on you, and you really want to be a part of it, we're going to get you on the roster. Okay. Because we need the participation, and then the more female participation that we get, it potentially opens up another roster spot or two for the males. And again, I'm talking about this kind of holistically, cross country and track and field. It is 2 distinct seasons, but obviously you have the crossover interest, and which there's no problem with that, but we're doing everything we can to kind of create the sense of urgency that we need more female participants. So with all of that, Gary, I think that's all I have to say. Any questions from any of the group? Because I know Gary and I, we've kind of been nonstop for about the last 30 minutes or so.
I have a question.
All right, go Troy.
Regarding like housing and all that, is there any specific spots that we need to like apply for, like apartments that we need to apply for, or no?
I can definitely give you some suggestions. We have a partner where a lot of our student athletes live. It's about a mile away, maybe a little over a mile. But there's also, there are a couple of properties that are, one's literally across the street from the college, and one is kind of 2 doors down, so to speak. We have a Lively Technical College that sits, right next to TCC, and their campuses, just kind of merged together. But then there's an student apartment property on the other side of Lively. So there's no shortage of student housing in Tallahassee, obviously. And, unfortunately, when those properties get built, they're built with FSU in mind first, in a lot of different ways. But we definitely have some properties that are closer to TCC in proximity one that we work with closely. And then there's another company in town that they manage properties all over Tallahassee, and students will come to them, and they will work with the student to kind of help them find the best match, probably based on several different criteria. So yeah, I can I'll follow up with an email to you, Troy, and just share that info.
Okay. All right.
Let's see. Tyler, I admitted a Tyler onto the call about 15 minutes ago, but that's all I see is a name. Can you give a quick introduction?
My name is Tyler Davis.
Okay. And Tyler, where are you from?
I'm from Florida, Tampa.
What high school?
ZCA, Zephyr Christian Academy.
Okay. And you graduated high school what year?
2020.
2020. Are you at TCC right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Gary, any info you want to capture from Tyler quickly?
Yeah, Tyler, what's your main event or events?
I do the 1-2 4x1.
Okay. All right. We have, if you can, this has been recorded, so you can see the standards, what we're looking for in the sprint times. It's going to be pretty competitive to make the team. But even though we're going into the fall season right now, if you know you're going to be on board at TCC, just stay in touch with me about that, and we'll have our tryouts very, very early in the spring for the track team.
Okay.
Gary, I'm going to pull this up quickly just so that it's recorded as part of this. These are just kind of base standards that Gary came up with last year for the different events, from cross country all the way up, including pole vault and discus, just because a lot of times we'll get all kinds of inquiries from students. But we put it into two columns here, scholarship and walk-on, not necessarily to mean that if you hit one that you're going to get a scholarship, and that if you don't, you don't, but just more to kind of demonstrate, look, that scholarship column, you need to be in that range to really be in strong consideration to make the cut. If you're more in the walk-on column, that's where you might have a little more work to do. And again, if you're a female participant or you're a female with an interest, these numbers might not mean as much. But again, when we're getting the amount of interest from males as we do, this can be a good guide to let you know, yeah, this is where you kind of need to be, in the 100 or the 400 or the 1500, in order for us to really be able to give you strong consideration, because the men's roster has to be a pretty competitive process. So I got this pulled up. It's part of the recording, and that way you can go back and look at it a little bit later if you'd like. So any other questions? Okay. Well, I'll follow up with everybody that was on the call, and I'll share this recording back to the group. I'm going to stop it quickly.